There is so much global chatter about climate change that sometimes it's difficult to distinguish fact from fiction. We therefore put 4 frequently heard comments about climate change to Dr. Neville Trotz, Science Advisor to the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, for his comment. One of the most common is that climate change is a naturally occurring process and that mankind has nothing to do with it.
What the skeptics are saying is that the world goes through these cycles of warming and cooling, and that we are in the middle of one of these cycles. What they're not saying, however, is that those cycles are basically stretched over hundreds, thousands of years. But what we're seeing here is change compressed in 1 century, in 100 years. So it's the rate of change that basically convinces us that this is not a normal cycle of change, but rather a dramatic cycle caused by what we, to use the fancy word, anthropogenic action, which means it's man-made. It's man-made. And there's an uncanny, a very uncanny coincidence that the rate of change of greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide particularly, since the Industrial Revolution, and the rate of change of global temperatures, there's a lot of coincidence between those 2 pathways.
We then asked Dr. Trotz about the notion that it's too late to do anything about climate change, so we're doomed.
It's an easy way out, isn't it? Because if we say we are all doomed, we'll go tomorrow and buy 2 more SUVs, we'll continue to live the way we're doing, we wouldn't make the effort. But, you know, mankind has a way, basically, of coming together when the crisis basically starts to bite home. And I think it's starting to bite home now. The developed countries, until recently, never spoke about adaptation, until you started to get the floods in Britain and in Holland and in all over the world, the developed countries. Look at what's happened to Japan with a natural event. So the message is coming across that we have to take action.
We then put the argument that climate change adaptation is simply too expensive for us as individuals to do anything to help.
So for your own home, for a start, you need to make sure that you construct in keeping with the building codes. And one would hope that those building codes are designed in a way to protect you from some of the hazards. Start with your water, how you use water in the home. Conserve water. Electricity, change to the energy efficiency bulbs, because every little bit, I mean, if you have a whole community and then eventually a whole country taking these little steps, they're incremental and they add up to make a significant difference.
The final comment we put to Dr. Trotz was the one that says that climate change won't affect me in my lifetime. It's something that will happen in the future.
Climate change, essentially, you're talking, when the scientists talk about climate change, if you look at scientific literature, they're talking about 2030, 2050. They tell you that you're going to get so many meters sea level rise by the end of the next century. Language like that. But then we have to, as a region, understand that right now we are very vulnerable to present day climate. We are vulnerable to the hurricanes of today, to the heavy rainfall of today, to the periods of drought of today. So climate change for us is not a thing of the future. It's about our present well-being and existence. So what we need really to cope, essentially, is for us now to start taking on climate information as part of our decision making in everything that we do.